Oh, also, this is the last piece of Israel news I'm going to be covering because this is, oh my God. Guys, a lot of you think that the real victims of Israel's genocidal actions are like the Palestinian children, women, men, right? Like Palestinian hospitals. Except the real victim is Jerry Seinfeld. What's the deal with airplane food? That Jerry Seinfeld. Jerry Seinfeld, who is one of the co-writers and co-creators of the Seinfeld hit TV show, was speaking at the Duke Commencement. And honestly, these Hamas terrorist children were very upset about his commencement speech, so they walked away. And let me tell you, some things are truly unacceptable. Israel kills 34,000 Palestinians. I sleep. Actually, I don't sleep. I'm wide awake. I'm saying that's great. Nuke Gaza. The worst American comedian with like an undeserved platform who rode the coattails of much funnier comedy writers like Laryl David come out at the Duke Commencement, and the students understandably get peeved by that thing because, you know, he is a unconditional dick rider of Israel, and also his wife, not 1738 Seinfeld, his current wife, gave $5,000 so that they could build a podium next to the UCLA encampment. That Seinfeld was speaking at the Duke Commencement and students walked away. Oh, I'm sure he is going to ride this so much.
Tensions reaching a breaking point at college campuses nationwide, with graduation ceremonies becoming the latest flashpoint for ongoing anti-war protests. Over the
Why
weekend,
does 1738 sound like a dog whistle? 1738. I'm like, hey, what's up? Hello. Jerry Seinfeld dated a 17-year-old when he was 38. He was on the cover of magazines. Their weird relationship.
and dozens of Duke University students staging a walkout as comedian Jerry Seinfeld began his commencement speech.
I grew up a Jewish boy from New York. That is a privilege if you want to be a comedian.
After Hamas attacked Israel on October 7th, Seinfeld posted on Instagram, "I will always stand with Israel and the Jewish people," and visited the country back in December to show his support. Duke University.
Bro, really? I mean, he's wearing a IDF dog tag, brother. Come on now. What if you are serving while wearing them? Bro, there is no way. Yo, she is my fave, dude. Okay, listen. We'll get back to that. Okay, I can't deal with that right now. I'm sorry. Let's get back to Jerry Seinfeld. Because, like, I have been a Seinfeld hater for a while. I did not even know that he was, like, this much of a writer for Israel. I didn't need to know to hate on Jerry Seinfeld. I like the show Seinfeld. I watched that shit, okay? I thought it was a great show. Problem is, it was carried by Larry David, who wrote the character for George Costanza after himself. Curb Your Enthusiasm speaks for his writing ability. Jerry Seinfeld's entire body of work post-Seinfeld speaks for his. Now, that was a major reason why I was never like a big Seinfeld fan. I've just been a Larry David writer. I'm glad that he hasn't been like outspoken since October 7. It would actually hurt my soul almost as hard as Bernie Sanders if I saw him say some shit. Not to say that like he's a rugged anti-Zionist or whatever. I don't think he is, but at least he's like chill. Now, Cheryl Hines married the guy with the brainworms. I know. Julia Louis-Dreyfus as well, the GOAT. Love her. She's incredible. She also carried Seinfeld. You're absolutely correct. Anybody says they love Jerry doesn't know they just love Larry. Yeah. Doesn't get involved in brain rot. Okay. I don't want to secrets here, but I know for a fact that he was like a Kirsten Gillibrand donor. You know what I mean? Or was it Kirsten Gillibrand? Or yeah, it was Kirsten Gillibrand. Larry is also a little bit of a weird liberal, okay? But it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. He's anyway. Did you watch Veep? Yes, I think. Well, I love Armando Iannucci, so Veep is phenomenal. Armando Iannucci, with the exception of like his non-political work, his political comedy is incredible. Death of Stalin is great. Everything that he does that is not like inherently political or historical is kind of ass. Veep is great. Veep might be the best American political comedy. Anyway, that is all to say there's nothing wrong with a 38-year-old dating a 17-year-old. It is legal. No, it's not. Pretty sure. Wait, no, it's not. Romeo and Juliet laws don't apply to a 38-year-old, dog. What the you talking about? Depending on the state, I guess, but even then, not usually. Drake riders in the chat. Like I said, I got all the smoke for Jerry Seinfeld. Age of consent is 16, isn't it? No, bro. What Ew, gross. Take a day off.
Duke University releasing a statement writing in part, "We respect the right of everyone at Duke to express their views peacefully without preventing graduates and their families from celebrating their achievement."
Unrelated, but according to Con 11, Israeli officials are convinced the ICJ will issue orders to stop the fighting in Rafah. We praying they right? I hope so.
This walkout just one of many nationwide impacting end-of-year campus events. Pro-Palestinian demonstrators blocked entryways ahead of a commencement ceremony for Pomona College. The school had moved the event after protesters set up an encampment on the stage. At UC Berkeley, home of the free speech movement, dozens of students interrupted graduation waving pro-Palestinian flags and banners.
This wouldn't be Berkeley without a protest, so I get it.
The demonstration later moving behind the main stage, where hundreds of others joined in. Dozens of VCU graduates silently walked out during Virginia Governor Glenn Youngkin's speech. This comes after police in riot gear arrested 25 protesters at the University of Virginia last week. According to an NBC News tally, nearly 3,000 arrests have been made on campuses nationwide in weeks.
That's awesome. That's awesome. How many arrests were done on January 7th? You have to go to this? What is this? Here at the Zionist Organization of America's Support for Israel rally concert, feat special guests Alan Dershowitz and Rabbi Shmuley, middle of Times Square, and 0 attendees so far. What? Oh my God, that's from a couple hours ago. An attendee just showed up with the Israel-American flag combo, bringing the total number of people to 1. Bro, Israel is not doing all right, okay? Like, yes, sure, they deserve this fate. Yes, sure, the Israeli government's actions are horrifying, but like I can't help but like kind of feel a little bad in a very funny way that the only guys that they're able to put together is basically two perverts in their own right, okay, in very different directions. Bro, these are your fucking homies. These are the people you could put together, dude. God damn. There is perhaps no better representation that so much of the Zionism comes from like Islamophobic resentment and animosity, because there's literally more Zionists at any given pro-Palestinian encampment trying to get in there. If the Israeli organizers actually wanted Zionists to attend this, they should have put like a woman in a hijab there, you know what I mean? So that they could go and spit on her. That would be widely attended, you know what I mean? Every Tom, Dick, and Harry in New York would be there to like fucking yell at her and spit on her and stuff. Zionists only care when like there's a gaggle of Muslims and sympathizers of people who are of Islamic origin. They only want to occupy those spaces. They don't give a fuck. They don't give a fuck when it's their own people talking. They're like, yeah, I don't care about Rabbi Shmuley. Get the fuck out of here. Are there children present? Are they protesting Israel? Because I'm there no matter what. Their position has power in the US, so there's no need to protest for stuff, only counter protest. Yeah. 36 months after arrests made, more than 1,265 defendants have been charged in nearly all 50 states and District Columbia. Oh, this is the January 6th attack. Wait, no, that's charged. How many arrests were made? I want to know how many arrests were made. That's only the charges. I want to know how many arrests were made after January 6th, not like those who were charged, unless they charged every single person with arrest, because they didn't really charge. Technically, they did. I don't think any arrests were made on January 6th. I think there were like how many? Like a handful. There were a handful of arrests made on January 6th, which is already laughable to begin with. So I guess like the arrest to charge number is like identical in this situation, possibly because these are all arrests that came after investigations were conducted. So that's why the arrest/being charged number is identical. Approximately 11 individuals have been arrested on a series of charges that relate to assaulting a member of the media or destroying equipment on January 6th. No, I want to know how many people were directly arrested on January 6th. I'm just saying, January 6th happens, like a handful of people get arrested, okay? Maybe 2 hands full. 1,300 people are arrested, 1,200 are charged since like months after January 6th, by the way. Meanwhile, 3,000 arrests have happened in the last couple of months immediately at student protests, like directly at student protests. Just something to consider. As of this AP article, June 4th, 2020, 10,000 Black Lives Matter protests were arrested. So 3,000 in a few weeks is crazy. It's not crazy because obviously the very same reason as to why all of those HVAC business owners thought that they could get away with like filming themselves breaking into the Capitol is the exact same reason, is because they see this. They recognize this. You protest against the police, you protest against the government, you protest against capitalism, you are going to get violently arrested and apprehended. You actually, if you're right wing and you do that, on the other hand, if you're right wing and you go to the government and you're like, why don't you do more right wing shit, no matter how silly, how laughable, or how violent you are not going to get arrested until the government does make a big stink about it. But think about that. 10,000 arrests during the Black Lives Matter protests. 3,000 so far in 3 weeks. 3,000 arrests at student protests in 3 weeks. 1,300 arrests in the subsequent years after January 6th. Tell me what is more violent. Tell me which cause was just. Just some stuff to consider in this bullshit ass country as we go back to Jerry Seinfeld, a story so stupid that I've spent the last hour literally covering anything else instead of this story. I can't even get myself to literally talk about students leaving Jerry Seinfeld's commencement speech because it's just so stupid. Nobody should be listening to Jerry Seinfeld. His 17-year-old girlfriend should not have been listening to Jerry Seinfeld when he was like, here, I'll help you with your math homework. No one. Holy moly.
U.S. News & World Report is out with a new survey today that says that 67% of students at top schools say anti-Semitism is a problem on campus. 38% say they feel unsafe. As for Duke, Jerry Seinfeld, his daughter graduated from the school. His son goes.
Who is doing these polls, bro? Also, anti-Semitism is a big problem in campuses. It's true. That's a real issue. Except the idea that, like, that's married to the pro-Palestinian protest is insane.
To the school, we reached out for his team for comment. They have not returned our request for comment. Guys, back to you. All right. Stephanie.
Like if you go to a pro-Palestinian rally and you poll the students without like tying it back to Palestine, if you literally were to poll them and ask them, do you think anti-Semitism is a big issue on campuses? They would say yes. The pro-Palestinian encampment would say yes. These students are obviously very, very considerate overall. Ultimately, they're using that number in a very gross way here. In a story specifically about college campuses protesting against like pro-Israeli speakers and whatnot. How was anti-Semitism a problem before October 7? What do you mean? They literally had like Nazis attend college campuses regularly. What are you talking about? Anti-Semitism absolutely was a problem before October 7. Hello, Charlottesville. I don't know if you remember that. Proud Boys, Patriot Prayer type shit everywhere. People like Gavin McInnes going to college campuses and speaking at college campuses. Milo Yiannopoulos. Marjorie Taylor Greene said Jewish space lasers did the California wildfires. Problem is, like, there's real anti-Semitism, and then there is the only thing that the media, dude, that Chapo interviewer said it was nowhere to be found. Yeah, no, he was talking about like the anti-Semitic incidents post October 7 that he was looking at, that he was conducting, and he was not able to find what the anti-Semitic incidents were, because the anti-Semitic incidents that they have factored in as anti-Semitic incidents were mentions of Palestine. Not just like in a lecture hall, mentioning Palestine was considered anti-Semitic by that university's own standards. The issue is a lot of these universities, if you listen to that interview, a lot of these universities don't actually have like a defined anti-Semitism, which is why he was also saying it's a good thing that his university was actually trying to define what anti-Semitism is, so you can actually adequately present it. Like, this is an anti-Semitic incident. This is clearly defined within the boundaries of the university as like what anti-Semitism is. The problem is when there is no definition for anti-Semitism, people literally turn around and not even just say free Palestine is anti-Semitic. Mentions of Palestine is considered anti-Semitic. What anti-Semitic incidents have happened on college campuses doesn't exist. You are insane if you think that anti-Semitic incidents don't happen on college campuses. Of course they happen. What you are actually trying to do in this circumstance is probably run a 3-minute ad break at the top of the hour early on. 55. That's not the worst time to do a bait. And that is the reason why. Yeah, see? There you go. I was right. The anti-Semitic incident is the top of the hour ad break. Yes, you are right. But yeah, that guy was saying that specifically because he wanted to bait me at the top of the hour. But yes, of course, anti-Semitic incidents occur on college campuses. After all, there are young Republicans on college campuses. Where else would we get such wonderful speakers like Milo, the Nazis are quite all right, Yiannopoulos, for example, to come and attend your campus and talk at your campus? you know.
Thank you very much.
Hey, thanks for watching. Don't miss the Today Show every weekday.
Anyway.
The pro-Palestinian protests that engulfed college campuses have now found a new stage, the graduation stage. At Duke University Sunday, about 30 students walked out of the commencement ceremony as comedian Jerry Seinfeld was being introduced. Seinfeld has supported Israel throughout the war against Hamas in Gaza, and here is some of what he then said in his address.
I totally admire the ambitions of your generation to create a more just and inclusive society. I think it is also wonderful that you care so much about not hurting other people's feelings. In the million and one ways, we all do that every second of every day. It's lovely to want to fix those things.
That is far from the only protest to hit college commencement ceremonies over the weekend. CNN's Nick Valencia joins us now. What all happened, Nick?
Yeah, hey, Kate, good morning. Commencement season is upon us, and these pro-Palestinian demonstrators are choosing to voice their opposition to the war in Gaza in a variety of ways, some continuing to call for a ceasefire, and over the weekend we saw that at commencement ceremonies across the country, really. Some chanted, others held signs, some draped themselves in Palestinian flags, calling for their schools to divest from Israel. But for the most part, these ceremonies went on without a hitch. In Southern California, though, there was a brief interruption. According to the New York Times, at least one person was arrested over a skirmish outside of Pomona College's graduation. They had to move their graduation 30 miles away from their campus. And at Duke University, we saw what happened there in the intro. Comedian Jerry Seinfeld, who's been a very vocal supporter of Israel since the Hamas terrorist attack on October 7th, he was protested by a few dozen pro-Palestinian demonstrators who chose to walk out and have their own commencement ceremony. Across the country in California, at UC Berkeley, the Dean of Students had to take the microphone. There was a pause in ceremony there. And listen to what the Dean of Students...
Did you see someone committed suicide during that OSU Bitcoin speech? Wait, what? I didn't even get to cover the OSU Bitcoin speech, which was really funny, but now it's sad. I did not know that happened. The OSU president was like, they fell. Oh, they didn't commit suicide. They just fell. Oh God, that's so sad. It's being investigated as a suicide. A family member of the graduate participating in Sunday's ceremony. It was a suicide. It was while the graduates were walking onto the stadium. Dude, that's so sad. Efendim, kaçta çıkıyoruz? Okay, şimdi birazdan çıkıyor muyuz? Well, okay, I'm not gonna cover this any further. Okay. That's really sad, man. That's up. Okay, I'm done with this Jerry Seinfeld bullshit.